Please say hello to Martin Parker. Hello, miss. Welcome. I know in the promotion of a film or talking about a project, there's always an element of celebration, and I know in this one there is an element of that, but this is a difficult film for you to talk about.
A little bit.
You just tell people the story behind this?
Sure. So, Trigger is a movie directed by Bruce McDonald and written by Danny McIver, who's one of Canada's greatest playwrights. And this movie was written for myself and a Toronto actress named Tracy Wright to do together, and we had planned to probably shoot it this summer. And around Christmas time, Tracy was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and so all of us decided very quickly that we still wanted to make the movie, and Tracy really wanted to make the movie, and so we started shooting 5 days later, and we shot it over 5 weekends, and we shot the movie in 9 days, which is like unheard of. I've never done that before. And it was, I don't quite have, I just don't quite have the language to express what the experience meant to me. As an actor, it was just fun and freeing and amazing. I originally really wanted to do it because Tracy's this terrific actress, and I've always wanted to do something big with her, you know, and then the circumstances of why we were doing it, the way we were doing it, and the fact that she was ill made it one of truly the most profound, special things I've ever been involved with.
You know, I kind of look at Friends, not, forgive me the way I'm going to say this, but Friends, you know, your life's a battery. You're a battery, and we're always in a constant state of discharge. Mm-hmm. And your friends are around you, your family's around you to top you up mm-hmm. for as long as you need to. Mm-hmm. And keep you going. And then that's one of their responsibilities. And the next responsibility of a friend is when they pass away, is they have to give you a jump start. It's their last shot of energy for you. And you don't need to lose people to gain perspective, but when you lose people, do you get a jump start in your life and really assess things differently?
Oh, I don't want to talk about it in a way that seems reductive or cliche, but there is absolutely something about being close to death, being around the potential of the end of life that wakes you up, you know, that makes you grateful, that makes you really conscious of what you have, and that this is it. Like right now, this is it. And it's hard to live in that place, but it's worth the effort. That kind of mindfulness, I think, is really worth the effort. Did
you learn some of this stuff on the hippie farm? I'm really fascinated by the fact that you grew up in a place you call the hippie farm. Because to me, hippie farm sounds really scary. I'm like, there's a lot of patchouli and they're kicking hacky sacks and what's happening here? Was it the hippie farm to you?
No, absolutely. I mean, I spent until I was 8, probably, we had a farm that was, I mean, I've said it was a hippie farm because it wasn't a dairy farm. You know, we weren't cattle farmers. We had goats and chickens and...
Lots of hits. Shakira came from your farm,
exactly. Right? It was a great place to grow up.
And did you, I wonder what you learned from it, because you can go one of two ways. You can rebel from your parent, you know, rebel from your parents' setup, or you can embrace your parents' setup.
Well, rebelling for me would have been to like become really, really conservative, and I don't know, which isn't exactly what happened. But I think that actually there's a part of me that's fairly. I also studied ballet for a long time, and sometimes I think that more than anything kind of, you know, defined that kind of I don't know.
A sense of structure and order.
Yes. Discipline, rigor.
Did you have discipline when you were growing up?
I did,
When you say rigor, I think of Kissed. Don't. Did you see Kissed? Right? Stop it. You were young when Kissed came out and created quite a stir. Did you handle it well at the time, looking back?
I think so. I mean, I certainly didn't have a young, I mean, the part of my career, you know, through my early 20s was not marred by like Hollywood parties. It was a totally different kind of life. I was lucky enough to sort of, through doing this movie Kiss, to end up being allowed to do really interesting roles. And so I just worked. I worked through my 20s. I made 30 films. And I worked and worked and worked and flew myself to London or New York or wherever so that I could be available to do work that was interesting. I tried for a long time to not go to LA because I somehow thought that that was not what I wanted to do. And eventually that became silly and inevitable. And I have lived there for the last 10 years, and it's great.
For a lot of people who are watching, like different people will walk into your career at different points. Deadwood, you know, when people talk about the great television series of all time, and they'll talk about The Sopranos or The Wire or Cheers. For me, WKRP in Cincinnati.
Right.
But Deadwood's in there.
Right.
And
The Littlest Hobo.
The Littlest Hobo.
Yeah.
Pretty great television show.
I know.
Didn't appreciate it at the time. But when you're on a set of Deadwood and you're doing a show like that, do you get a sense, I mean, it had been on for a while, but do you get a sense that this really is a piece of art?
Well, for me, it was this experience. You know, I hadn't done a lot of television before. Like, I'd done Twitch City, which was here and totally weird and not like any other television ever. And then Deadwood really, sort of 10 years later, was the first TV I had done in years and years. And it was unlike any other television that was being made even then. And Deadwood in particular, the man, David Milch, who wrote and produced that show, he would write the stuff for the next day. So he would watch the scene you were doing and then go and write it for, you know, so it was like a completely different kind of collaboration.
I want to just play some anthropology with you. A lot of these questions are designed to find out what you're really about. You ready?
No.
You're ready.
Okay.
What's the hippiest thing about you today based on the hippie farm?
The hippiest thing about me, I love crystals. I just do.
That's really
I like the
hippie.
ones you hang in the window that like reflect the rainbows all over the house.
That's amazing. Who's your favorite musician?
Oh, Joni Mitchell.
All right.
That's more hippie. There you go.
Now, I'm going to tell you something that we haven't told anybody else on the show, but I think connects to you. Your son's middle name is?
Strummer.
After the great Joe.
Yes.
See back there those letters behind the wall?
Yes.
That spells out Strummer.
Hey.
Well
there
done,
we go.
miss. Well done. Any similarities between your hometown, Maple Ridge, BC, and Deadwood?
Yes. Well, you know, the part that I grew up in, the part of Maple Ridge is actually called Pitt Meadows, and it was really rural. I mean, it was a smelly country place. Right. Yeah.
This might connect, maybe not. Finish the sentence. My idea of heaven is?
Good with the rapid fire.
Listen. We'll edit it together. You're going to sound like Richard Pryor when we're done with this.
My idea of heaven.
Heavenly. What brings you joy?
Gardening.
There you go. That's great. That leads perfectly into my next question. When you garden, do you wear Crocs?
Absolutely not.
There you go. The film is called Trigger. Please go see it. Molly Parker, everybody.